Hello, everybody. This is me and Dwee. Every time I say his name, I'm concerned I'm saying it wrong because it's to me it's a foreign name, and
It is correct though.
he says I'm pretty close, but still I know I'm off, and it bothers me every time. Okay, so Dwee and we're putting together like 6 sessions. He's 15Q, so it's like what should 10Q play? What do 10Q players need to move on? That's sort of the goal. And we're hoping to see every week he's catching new ideas, implementing new ideas. If he's anything like me, he's going to be filled with imperfections and forgetting stuff. I'm a slow learner, always have been. Okay, so this is the second one, and let us start in. Okay, these the Blackstones. We're encouraging him to ask as many questions as he can that are meaningful to him. The idea being that the more questions he asks, the more you 10Qs out there will get. Okay, all good and fine. He knows the Joseki, that's always nice. And here he brings up the fourth line, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Why A instead of the normal B?
Well, this is not my move, by the way. So I'm black.
Oh, you're black. Never mind.
Yeah. I do know the Joseki here, and I already thought that this was weird because it deviates from the normal Joseki. But for this game, I wanted to focus on being a bit more solid and basic, and so I just finished off my own part of the Joseki.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Since I mentioned it, let's finish the thought because I was thinking you're white. So this is the normal idea.
Mm-hmm.
But white is opening the skirt. So if I'm black, now this is subtle. This isn't something 10Q should think too much about. If there was a way for white to finish off the bottom right and close the skirt at the same time, then this would be perfect. But it doesn't close the skirt because there's room for an entire group down here.
Mm.
So I think white's move is a mistake. That's a small mistake. Okay.
Yeah, maybe just a question on this move for me then, because I decided to play low here, because I usually tend to play high in general because I think I have a natural tendency to prefer influence, but I just wanted to change it up and maybe try to play a bit more territorial here, but I'm not sure if this is considered strange here.
It's only considered strange because you've put together a board that is longing for this move.
Hmm. I see. Yeah.
So it does fit perfectly.
Right.
Is this an error? No way. No, it's simply points instead of influence. So not a problem. Yeah. Okay. Real bad for white. So we're getting a free move here. Nice. What in the world made you choose A versus B versus C? I guess there's 4 choices here.
Yeah, so I guess first of all, I was just plainly counting lines, just so to say. So I think if you look at C, the space between the two white stones is smaller than the other sides.
Uh-huh.
And then as for A or B, I have a stone on the top left corner, so that's why I decided to play A so that my stones
Great.
were facing my own stones.
Perfect. It's a little principle here. If we think about white's bottom area, and white says, I'm going to play here. Should we be afraid of white getting the bottom? So there's a perspective I want us to show here. Let's have white remove the invasion,
Mm-hmm.
and then let's have white take the bottom. Well, the white stones, there's way too many white stones on the bottom.
Yeah, looks a little bit over concentrated.
Way over concentrated. So as soon as I see this move, I no longer want to play on the bottom. In my mind, it means I get one. He finishes it off. I get two moves away, and he's already spent at least one move too many on the bottom.
Yeah.
So if that means anything. Okay, so great move. So do you know what the go wave is?
Yes, it means to have a balance between the third and fourth line, right?
Yeah. Now let's make a go wave. Let's make it from here. White, black. Do this way, white, black, white, black, white, black, white. So in each case, someone started on the third line or second line, started at the edge, came up to the fourth line, and then eventually closed the skirt back down. So it's a wave up from the bottom on up, down, back on down. That is the efficient way. Okay, so the go wave.
Yeah, so maybe I was thinking about it at this move, but I still decided to back off low because it's the Joseki that I know, and to back off high, I was quote unquote afraid not to know what to do in the follow-ups. But just as a learning point, then would you suggest me to play high anyways in such situations in the future for learning?
So let's look at a few things. I'll answer your question in just a second. Okay.
Yeah.
You have a go wave on the left. So yes, that's what you should do.
Right.
If we bring it down, it's kind of a waste. It's a waste of you're losing at least 2-3 points.
Yeah.
And 4 points is half a stone value.
Yeah.
So like a whole tempo, yeah.
Yeah. So, and maybe just a follow-up question. What if my C10 stone was played high earlier? Would it change the situation?
There's a good question. Where does he play? He plays there. Okay, so if you play there and he continues. Then what we do, generally speaking, we've started on the third line, we are coming on over, and here we are closing the skirt.
Yeah, I see.
And that's a very attractive, large area. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Now let's look at this one. Well, are you going to get the chance to make one gigantic go wave? He can come in anytime he wants. So no, this is somewhat easy to come in, while this is not easy to come in.
Yeah.
Now these relationships between stones, I mean, I'm still learning. Something else you said that's really so worthwhile. Something you'll find for the rest of your life if you continue to play Go, you will always be facing things that you don't know.
Yeah.
There's no way, it's impossible to stress that enough. You will never know. So this whole thing about I'm afraid is something you got to conquer. This last year, I've been teaching Go so long that my actual game has suffered dramatically. And this last year, my students got together and bought me a birthday present of Go lessons with a professional So I thought the only way to honor that was by getting some of my old strength back. And the
Yeah.
first thing I did was realize I've become so full of fear, and I'm playing these moves that I shouldn't play, and I know I shouldn't play them, but I'm afraid. Just like
Mm,
it was like,
yeah.
oh, step up to the plate, play what you know, but I don't know what happens next. Forget
Yeah.
it. Just go there. Go to
Yeah.
the right place. Yeah. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. And then in. Yeah. So you'd be choosing between A, B, and C seem to be the next big areas.
Yeah.
B is great for the corner. A is very nice for hassling white. Next move is going to be a hassle for white.
Mm,
And C, of all of these, I'd probably play C, unfinished corner. Yeah.
yeah.
Now that's a nasty skirt that he's left open. But one thing at a time. Right. So make your extension correct. So let's look at another principle here. We tend to not approach fourth line stones this way
Hmm.
because this move is so thin, while this move is not thin at all, and this move is
Yeah.
not thin at all. So we generally don't do that. So over here, third line,
Mm,
there's no growing here, and fourth is for growing. But on top of that, that is wonderful for black.
mm,
Great for health, obviously hassling white, good for points. And when you play in the fourth line, you can be playing this, maybe even fight back, much harder. That all makes sense, right?
yeah.
Okay. And if we ask how much of a mistake is this, I would put an actual value on it. I don't know, not more than 2 or 3 points, but yeah, noticeable.
Yeah.
It comes up. Okay. Looks like there's 4 moves. How did you choose?
Um, I was so I think what I thought was it would be hard to get out completely as is. So I was looking to make a bit of eye shape here. Um, yeah, and I thought that move A would give me the most chance to make somewhat of a shape for eyes.
Okay. So let's have a look. Move a couple white stones just to. Okay. Let's make an assumption here. Black wants to escape. Now, I've
Mm-hmm.
changed the board, and it doesn't make sense to make that statement, but we're going to make it anyway.
Yep.
Black wants to get his group out. Where do you go? Corner first. That's where you go.
Yeah.
Obviously, very nice. You got out, as it were. You didn't get surrounded, at least not yet. Okay. Where's our second place to get out, if not corner? Side.
Yeah.
So the corner side center applies here. That was my point.
Right.
So here,
Right. Right.
does this get you out? Um, well, you can come, now we're going to fix ourselves. You can come this far. He'll probably say Atari, and he's got to fix something. He's
Yeah.
extremely weak here, right?
Yeah. See.
And this still works,
Yeah.
right? So you want corner,
But I'm
side, center.
stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the corner, side,
All
center
right.
thing is big. So that's one thing. Now, A, granted, you're running straight out, and I like that, but I'd
Yeah.
rather go to the side than the center. Next, let's tackle the idea of you're making eyes
Mm-hmm.
here. And if we look at, well, what's the eye we're making? It looks like it's right about here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's go the other way, where the eyes were making. Oh gosh, all of this is eye space now.
Yeah.
So in both cases, yeah, we go to the side before the center. Okay. Yep. These situations are tricky. You have to start reading. For instance, if you say Atari and Atari, well, can he come back and kill you? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That good? Is that bad? It's just so many things to tackle. That being the case, you could consider just stopping the whole thing right now. None of this funny business. I don't want to get cut.
Mm.
Say Atari, then fix. And not even if he cuts, you're out.
Yeah.
See what you did. Yeah. Fixes the cut, gets
Yeah.
ready for a very nice next move. Yeah. Perfectly rational move. All right. This is where we were. Boom, boom.
But this is the wrong variation, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then this way. Yeah. And now you pretty much have mi. Do you know that term, mi?
Yeah. So you can either play one or the other, so you don't
Right.
have to play it because if the opponent
So
plays one, you play the other.
you're either out at A because he's so weak, or you're under at B. So
Yeah.
you are officially healthy for now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you did. Very nice.
Yeah.
So when white plays here, he's threatening to kill the A stone,
Mm-hmm.
which has a lot to do with the health of your group. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 normal ways of responding here.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we like sacrificing something to get a really nice capture, but in this case it's just deadly, so we can't do it. But that's a
Mm-hmm.
nice capture. We can do that. This happens a lot where you give up something, but in this case you
Yeah.
didn't do too much. Then if you can get this in Sente and then come back, then there's some extra eye space.
Oh, I see.
Uh, this one I don't like because he still gets a Sente move.
And they, yeah.
So if I was going to play this move, I would play it here. Now he doesn't have any Sente.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if he doesn't respond, now I get a great move. So this is
Right.
probably the move we're looking for.
Right. And is this purely a reading thing, or is this something that you recognize from certain shapes? Or is it like a process you go through the four options, or
That's a great question. First, I've seen so many patterns, right? Countless
yeah.
patterns, and you recognize some seem new. There's always some level of reading, even though if it's a little tiny glance of, oh, that dies.
Hmm.
But let's talk about the most basic picture, which is I'm all about saving the A group. How do I do that? Well, see how I left this hole here?
Yeah.
That that bothers me. That's not my first choice. Now I might do a little reading and go, is this worthwhile? But that leaves a hole. How about this one? That leaves a little hole right there. What
Yeah. I
about this
see.
one? No holes and
Yeah.
Sente. So that's how I would recognize it. It's a powerful move.
Hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
if there's something I can do, oh, he's cut, he's in such trouble here, then I would go in that direction. But that would be a matter of reading. And it's kind of interesting. And he's got to fix. Then you get this in Sente.
Yeah.
And then you can think about fixing. And it's like, it's interesting, and you'd have to make decisions. But it's even this little tiny situation. We just come across so many variations. Each one needs
Yeah.
reading and whole board analysis. It's Go is so hard, it's just sick. There's been just a small handful of times over my 55 years of playing Go where I decided I got to give it up. It's just I'll never get anywhere. It's so hard,
Mm.
but I just couldn't. That lasts like a week, and it's like, oh my god, I got to get back to it. Okay, and here you decide that you're alive. Good. What made you think you were alive on the bottom?
Here it looked like I had enough eye space, and that single cell on the second line, it has two ways to connect to the larger group. So I didn't need to play either one of them. And so I imagine if white would Hane on the second line as well,
Uh-huh.
I think I would still have enough space.
And what would make you think this is enough? What would make you think this isn't enough? What about it made you recognize that?
Well, I see what you're doing now. I didn't really count the size of the territory, but I just imagine that if if let's say white plays on the second line, like the Hane at
Uh-huh. Yeah,
P2, there should still be enough space for me to create two eyes.
yeah. Well, that's great that you had that intuition, and you're correct. There's kind of a rule of thumb: if you have six or more spaces, then you're just alive. So we
Okay,
have
yeah,
2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, so you're alive. There is one shape called a rabbity six that actually is only one eye, but it's pretty rare.
yeah. I know that shape as well. Yeah.
And then you can imagine the space I see, can I cut it in two
Mm-hmm.
so that I have two eyes? But all that being said, what do you do?
Mm.
I mean, you're going to have to face, if you're a Go player, you have to face this. Someone's going to play it, whether it's a good move or a bad move. And you're like, oh my, now what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I just have to stop that. Okay, now what are you going to do? It's like, oh my God,
Oh,
I
yeah,
hate, I don't like getting surrounded because I have to think about life and death. I don't like that.
yeah, yeah,
So I tend to rely too much on, I'll over defend because I hate getting attacked like that.
yeah. But would you say it is weird to play away from here, or
Oh, absolutely play away. You're absolutely alive. There's no question
okay?
about it. But that doesn't mean your opponent's not going to come in and test you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I hate that. Okay, so all that being said, so the only things we've looked at so far in this game are subtleties, which really don't apply to this recording we're doing. You did all correct stuff. To get to 10Q, you're playing stable groups, you're playing in big areas, and you're so far 100% success.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, then what do we look at? Well, all we're doing is looking at subtleties. Okay. So next, I'm seeing three areas. Area 1, nice corner sitting there. Area 2, nice big top area. Area 3, over here. Okay.
Yeah.
I would rank these in importance 1, 2, 3.
Right. And how did you determine that?
Yeah. Well, first, my confidence level when I say this isn't that high. It's like, okay, my first guess, I like area 1. It's at least one of the widest, if not, it's not, area 2 is wider.
Yeah.
Width is not the most important pointer. Strength and weaknesses of groups is more important. That's where area 1 comes in. So we're playing in a big area. That's one purpose. We're
Yeah.
clearly bothering white. Two purposes.
Yeah.
A very nice two-purpose move. Well, how big is this? Playing in big area. No defense, no attack. One purpose move. Here,
Yeah.
I would 1.5, maybe it's 2, but this is just a wider area, more of an open.
Right.
Yeah. If I was going to
So
put
I
it,
yeah. So I played three because I had an idea. So first of all, I played it because it would secure me some points,
yeah,
but I also had the idea that I would have a follow up at age.
yeah,
Or I was thinking age 16, so higher. But in any case, it would split the two, and I would drive one of the stones towards my
yeah,
strength.
yeah. And this is all very true. So if I was going to say, if this is a mistake, how much of a mistake? 2 points maximum, which is pretty small. That's still a one don move, so no problem. So again, quite subtle. Ah, cute. What did you think here? What goal did you have?
So I switched goals within the move. So initially, I was thinking, okay, I felt a bit insulted that he played in my area. So I was thinking, can I kill this one stone? And then I later realized that it's not needed at all. He can live if he can live small, then that's fine as well. So I
Good,
just wanted to surround him and try to make him live small while potentially making myself stronger on the outside.
good, nice. And now, once white, assuming white lives, and in Gote, because he can only live in Gote, then you've prepared on the left and on the right to hurt him on top. Yeah,
Yeah.
very nice. Okay, yeah, seems perfect. This actually kills him. Oh, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
He can live. Okay. I don't see any reason not to Atari there. I don't know. It's a couple things to think about. Is he dead here? Yeah, nice. This happens a lot.
Yeah.
His A group clearly only has one eye. Your B group has no eyes. Your C group has no eyes.
Yeah.
So it's this, we are now in a battle.
Yeah. This is where things also start to get more complicated as well.
Yeah. So what's your thought? I haven't seen your move, but what's your thought about, I mean, what should you do here?
Yeah. So I think what I noticed in my previous games in similar situations is that I didn't take care of my the liberties of my groups, especially in these kind of situations where I was cut.
Uh-huh.
So I wanted to avoid the situations where I could get into where I got short of liberties.
Uh-huh.
So I think I played, yeah, probably not the best move there, but
Okay. Interesting. So let's look at a couple things here. So he's dead. He cannot live. Okay.
yeah,
So you don't need to capture. He's already captured if you're alive. So the idea is to get your groups out so they can't get surrounded. You never have to go back and kill because you're out.
right,
So the question arises, which group do we start with? I would wager that most people go, oh, my B group. It's just this pitiful little nothing of a group. He needs more help, which I would disagree with. So check this out. Mr. Yang calls it the inside group. So the C group if you notice, we can draw a straight line. He's actually behind enemy lines. Now that's an overstatement, but the C group looks like it can get surrounded. Let's check out the B group. Oh, there's no surrounding here. Why?
Yeah.
Crazy. We can't get around the B group. We can get around the C group. So
Right.
step one, get this group fine. The White's only hope is to somehow get out. Just get out. You can't get surrounded, so you're fine on both sides.
Right.
End of
Right.
story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was my mistake there then, because I was too worried about him surrounding me in terms of shortest liberties that I tried to kill the already dead group.
Right.
But what you're saying is it's better to run with your groups because there's still potential to run, and
Right.
he needs to do a lot before he can surround me if I run.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for fun, let's imagine. So now, as the game continues, we can imagine a board where all of a sudden it's a co-fight.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even saying that's possible, but it's just,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I think
getting out.
that's actually what we got into later. You will see.
Oh, yeah.
Unnecessarily made it complicated later. Yeah.
So you're getting your group out. Exactly what you're supposed to do. Okay, now he only has 2 liberties, and you have more, so you can hane if you want. Okay, he only has 2 liberties. Okay, that was reasonable. We like how you're building the center here. And here you're giving up the stone. I don't think you need to.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to imagine that white stone getting away. That's an awful lot of black stones nearby.
Yeah. Yeah.
You remember the list. Let's go over it here. Does black have any weak groups? No, nothing to mark for black. Does white have any weak groups? His A group is cut, no base. Okay. His B stone, whether it's part of A or not, and it's not quite over to C. So there's something going on
Yeah.
there. And it seems to me that his area C is kind of awkward. There's open skirts, there's hanes. So I'm kind of seeing 3 issues here. Notice his D group is alive, your E group is alive. So
Yeah.
this is actually a pass. He can walk away without suffering at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, this is an example of something of Q play. Atari, take.
Yeah.
Atari, Atari, take. I mean, it's like Q players love that because they can see it, they can control it, but it
Yeah.
has its end game is all it is.
Yeah.
So the idea of staying on point and saying, I'm gonna go attack something. Gosh, I'm gonna, play over here and kill the entire AB group up there or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. And there you did it. Nice. Yeah. Get a little scary up there.
Yeah. This is where there were a lot of mistakes from both sides, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. If I'm going to, I will play in this area, and I'm going to play here because I can clearly see 3 liberties. And here, it's like, how many liberties do I have? It's very weak. So I'd want to be more solid. And if the Atari is fine, I know I have more than 2 liberties, and he only
Yeah.
has 2. Yeah. Very true. Oh, yeah. So if we can see that this, once again, is just in-game,
Yeah.
and when there's check out area 1, how many points could you make there if you wanted to? 10, 15, 20? How many
Mm.
points on top? I don't know, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, big
Yeah.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you walk away, it means you might need to just say Atari and give up the rest of the top. I mean, you'd have to read it out, but you don't get overcomplicated here because your life is at risk.
Yeah.
It's just so complex.
Yeah.
Okay. Very tricky. Let's imagine something here. We're going to give white a bunch of moves. Atari, black plays away. I'm sorry, it's not Atari. Fill, black plays away. Fill, notice it's not Atari, black plays away. Eventually, white says, Atari, didn't work.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
what we
white can make
have
the
here,
eye.
black has an eye. Oh, so it's going to be Seki. I forgot that
Yeah.
white also has an eye. If
Yeah.
we
White can make the
remove,
eye.
if we remove white's eye, then we have one eye, no eye. White
Yeah.
can never say Atari.
Yeah.
Yeah. We both have an eye, makes it Seki. Okay. So there, wow. And there's the Seki. Yeah. So it's Seki
It's a
in,
co.
yeah, in
Yeah.
Ko, it's Seki. So you're alive
Yeah.
regardless, but he might be able to die. Then Atari, yes, good for you. Complex, huh?
Yeah. It became a bit too complex.
Yeah. Here's one of the situations. Everyone's fine, and what's that? 1 point
Yeah.
late in game, and you get a big move. Okay. So for viewers, this is one of my pet peeves. If you go to the active games list in KGS and pull up, a couple 10Q games, they're going to be playing, oh, then this goes here, and then this goes here, and this goes here, and this goes. I mean, they're playing little tiny in-game moves when there's huge moves to be played. So try to get an overall feeling of groups rather than little tiny perimeters. Okay, so which perimeter shall we now work with? Let's check out what there might be. Very hard for white to develop area 1 for a bunch of reasons. First, Atari, out. Is there some way to capture that group? I don't think so. This is horribly weak for
Mm,
white, horribly weak. And so for white to take the area, you would have to start here. Then what? Here, 2 points. So it's just simply not an area that white can do anything about. So that's out of the question. Next, area 2. Oh, black can do great things there.
mm,
Then there's something going on in area 3 that really, I would actually start in area 3 because goes about strength and weaknesses of groups. I see a cut at A that I like. I see a nasty knight's move at B. Let's just look at that. Get on the right button here. Let's assume white saves the
mm.
corner. Oh, there's some stuff here. Let's just walk out. See the
Yeah,
yeah,
potential snapback.
a snapback, right? So something like this, Atari, right? Snapback, which I guess is not literally a snapback. But White's so weak here. White has to pull back. Well, all of a sudden, there's all this stuff here. Whether it works now or
Right.
not, I wouldn't even bother considering. I just know that A is weak, B is weak. So I would start here.
Yeah.
White is worried. Let's say White behaves himself and plays here, fixing everything. Great. Now I'll come over here and I already made a big move. I might choose to continue. But if White plays something like this, that is so, there's some problems. I wouldn't know. Yeah. Okay. This is cut, right? It's a knight's move.
Yeah.
This is the kind of move that could lose you the game if you're ahead by 20 points. Some move, all of a sudden, he cuts it and a big fight starts and you lose the fight. This
Yeah.
happens to 1, 2, 3 dons all the time. It happened to me about a month ago. I was so embarrassed. I had a totally won game and I played a move like this, and all of a sudden, aha, weakness, and he caught it. Oh my God, so stupid of me. So it's a weak move near a lot of
Right.
white stones. Could really
Yeah.
trouble. Yeah. So you are growing area one, that center area on a large scale. Very nice. Uh-huh. See the weakness you left behind?
Yep. Yeah.
I would have put it here, which makes it much harder for him to come in, right? Very easy to
Right.
stop it there. But still, you're doing the right idea. But yeah, that gap, that's a
Yeah.
relationship.
That's painful. Yeah.
Yeah. How many little details have we come across in a simple, it's nonstop. They're all over the place. This I don't mind because this whole group there is weak. And then you can press again. Absolute Sente.
Oh, see, I see it now. I knew the previous one was Senta as well, but the follow-up one, I failed to see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you fix. Good. And there's a chance that this also fixes. And if it does, it would be better.
Yeah. Because
It's
you're out. Because I'm
yeah,
out, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Big mistake. And then you can go after the 2 stones.
Yeah. I was hesitating between the direction because I had the same idea to go after the 2 stones. I opted for this one just because if I built in that area, I would get maybe more solid on the left-hand side.
Uh-huh.
Was the idea?
Yeah. You're definitely getting some solid area 1 points. So not a bad move. Good. And you can double hunt here.
Yeah. Is it because I have a solid wall on the other side, or is it just a reading?
Well, I guess that
Reading
takes
skill?
some reading.
Right.
There's a lot of cuts. That being the case, if you can read them all out, great. If not, you got to pull back. Yeah. And don't be afraid of fixing this way, because when you fix this way, you still have 2 cuts, and that can
Yeah.
come back and bother you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a mistake I keep doing over and over again.
Decades ago, when I was between 5 and 10Q, back when you weren't even alive, I wanted to understand so much how to get better. And there's like 1Q, 1 down was the strongest players around. And all they would say was play strong. And I had no idea what that even meant. As they could have said play cuckoo, and I wouldn't even know what it means, right? It's words that I didn't know what it meant. But it's like, well, here, that's 3 cuts. That's
Yeah.
weak. Then here, 2 cuts, and here, 1 cut. So
Yeah.
stronger, weaker. So sometimes you can Hane, double Hane, triple Hane. And in my 50 plus years, I've quadrupled Hane 4 times appropriately, which gives him a double Atari. Yeah, but the double Atari doesn't give him life, and you kill the whole group. Just extremely rare. So always play on
Right.
the stronger side unless you can read it out. Yeah.
I create a third cutting point.
Okay. See the weakness?
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yep. Yeah.
So fixing. And there's a few moves that fix. I mean, this is an interesting move because now you have a monkey jump into the corner. Very big. The only
Right.
question is, does it fix enough? And just for fun, we'll have a look. Yeah, it fixes enough.
Yeah.
But anyway, oh man, you're so weak there, right? That is so weak. There's that example. Play
Yeah.
strong. This is weak. Yeah. I see you went here for the Ataris. And that doesn't save a cut. You're not cut there.
Yeah. I realized after I clicked the move, I was
After,
like,
yeah.
oh, that's
Good. Um, Granted, he has some cuts here, but this
yeah, it
just
didn't work. Yeah.
I can sit here and say, oh, that doesn't work. And you're like, oh, does this work? And you're like
Yeah.
trying things. Well, you're supposed to try things.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you read it out? Because there's hundreds to read out during a game, and you only have X many minutes, 20 minutes. You can't read out 100 things. So yeah, it's perfectly rational that you're, trying stuff. And that's probably, well, I guess we can look at endgame. There's a principle here. So let's say we're focused on this gap. Let's also look at this principle here. White gets ahead, black catches up. White gets ahead, black catches up. So black is pushing from behind.
Yeah.
What black wants to do is get ahead. Now there's no cut there because it's a ladder, so there's no cut there. So
Yeah.
we can get ahead. White gets ahead, black gets ahead. That's what we're generally looking for. That's, as a rule, the way to look at it. Okay, so let's apply that over here. Did you play that one? Yeah, okay. So this catches up with white. Wouldn't it be nice to get ahead? Yeah, but he'll cut me if I get ahead. Doesn't matter. Please cut me. I'm going to cut you. Sorry.
Right.
So you completely ripped him off by getting ahead. This happens
Yeah.
all the time.
The struggle to get ahead.
Yeah. Now, I'm just going to give a little history lesson here. If we go back 60 years, Japan was the only nation that was any good at go at all. I mean, at all.
Mm.
And they focused mostly on the artistic side and shapes. Now, since they were the And it was they were very proud of that. So if it came to a move like this, they would say, and possibly literally, I'd rather die than make this shape. And they would
Because of the empty
actually say this.
triangle.
There's a whole bunch of horribly ugly shapes, and they would say, I'd
Yeah.
rather die. And they might mean it. Then the Chinese eventually, this would be in the early 70s, they got their first world-class player, their first professional nine dan, Ni Wei Ping. I have his name. I was at one of his lectures,
Oh,
and
wow.
when it was all over, I noticed his name tag was left on a table. I snatched it. It's one of my trophies, Ni Wei Ping's name tag. And the Chinese put less emphasis on shape and more on practical reading ability. And that's when the Koreans got involved. And they completely took over and dominated the entire world scene because they said shape means nothing. It's all about does it work or not.
Reading.
Oh, we got these ugly shapes, stupid stuff going on, but they're destroying everybody. It was a real big change. And so the Japanese had no choice. We need to start thinking that way or we'll never be on the world stage again.
Right.
And this move is one of those kinds of examples. In this case, it is a horrible move, but still. I guess you could always Hane, and it's similar. Yeah. So that was a history lesson that just
Yeah.
okay.
I think I did that actually, but I was unable to make it work. Like I think here I did Hane.
Yeah. Another little history lesson. Now that I'm rambling with stories, used to be amateur 5-dan was the highest level you could get as an amateur.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say late 60s, early 70s. I could be wrong by 5-10 years there. Finally, the Neon Key the powers that be in the Go world said, okay, we'll allow amateur 6-dan status. And there were two brothers who were the first two amateur 6-dans, and I played one at Stanford. One of the first times I stepped out of character, I walked up and said, would you please play a game of Go with me? That's not something I'm going to do. I'm not worthy of that, but I went and asked. I was 1Q at the time. He gave me 9 stones and he beat me by 2 points. Everyone's standing around. We couldn't believe a 6-dan. And then nowadays there's 7-dans walking around, all 8-dans, amateur 9-dans all over the place. When I got to 6-dan years ago, 40 years ago, I was one of the few. Nowadays, I'm a weak nothing of a player. Everyone's 6-dan. Okay. It did go this way. You did say Atari, and you did kill. Very nice. Yeah. All right. I see. Yeah, just kill. Anyway, that's fine. It's bigger to kill this way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also realized that later.
Yeah. These little details, you can still kill it. Right?
Yeah.
Still there.
Yeah.
Well, that was a nice big capture on your part. Okay. Let's notice that white area 1 is kind of undecided. Is that white's? How much of it? I mean, it's unclear.
Yeah.
So I think this is still middle game. Are there any opening moves left? No. Are there any middle game moves left? Only area 1. So white is now dead. So we are now in endgame.
Right.
Question of Area 1 now belongs to black. It's official. How much of Area 1? Oh, it depends.
And that's endgame, you mean?
It's so Area 1 is decided, but we
Yeah.
don't know how much of it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Area, well, actually, this whole Area 2, there's a lot of weaknesses here. I can imagine that. I think we're still in the middle game in Area 2. It's because there's a lot of weaknesses there. So I guess I'm just pointing out that sometimes the opening will leave the opening, go to middle game, and then come back to the opening.
Mm.
I'll often leave the middle game, go to end game, and then back to the middle game.
Right. Yeah.
So here, mistake. So now we're working on just exactly who gets how much. So
Yeah.
that would be, yeah, over to here. So this is clearly an in-game move. Okay.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at in-game, well, I don't want to get too involved. Let's just mark some. There's a hole at A.
Yeah.
There's sort of a double sente at B. C's a big perimeter. D's a big capture. E's a big perimeter. So you look at the perimeters and say, well, which one represents? There might be one that's only worth 3 points. But if he ignores, you kill his group. Well, even though it's 3 points, it's biggest because he must answer.
Yeah.
At B, are you going to kill him? Yeah, but it's only 2 stones. It's not that big. Is it big enough? Is D bigger? These are big questions in in-game. Now, I do like your move because it has a future, right? Atari,
Yeah.
double Atari. Oh, so he has to kind of like back off.
Yeah.
Then it still continues, right? It's still Atari save,
Yeah.
Atari he can't save. So I like this capture because it just
Completely
keeps
missed
going
that.
and going and going. So
Yeah.
that's big. A big move with a big future, very important.
Yeah.
Now let's compare that to Atari. He threatens to kill you. Okay. Then this is all Sente. So which one was bigger? His was absolute Sente. Yours is just Sente.
Yeah.
And then you have to balance how many points for each. Oh, it's so complex.
Yeah.
There's a in-game book called The In-Game that I have never been able to get through. It is so complex. It's a professional, if I remember right, she's 3 or 4 done, and it's one of her games, and she shows if I play a basic in-game, I lose. So she went through this horribly complex plan of how to get more points, and she found it. And it's just over my head. I can't, yeah, that's not me. Okay. Yeah, no need. You're fine. If you want to fix this way. Way
Uh,
bigger. Yeah.
yeah.
So we're talking in game. Yeah, this is big. And again, it has a future, so I like it. This is interesting. How do I do this? Sometimes this move, you reached in and got a little more.
Yeah.
But in certain cases, the next one is not Sente. Let me finish my thought here. If you play the smaller one, sometimes it means this one is Sente. So I'll find I often play the smaller in-game move so that I get the bigger next move. I'll get it all in
Mm.
Sente rather than a little bigger, but Gote. So
Yeah.
maintaining Sente can be a pretty big deal. Okay, that's plenty in game to chat about. Oh, when you play here, I get worried. I'm seeing one. Now I'm worried. I'm seeing one big eye here that's just a real concern. So when white plays here, I think I'm going to play this way and take an extra.
Uh,
It's
right.
just, you just see, I'm like, oh, warning. Into the game, when Liberties start getting filled in, groups start dying. Happens
Yeah.
all the time. Okay, good. Well, let's call it quits there.
Yep.
I would say you definitely applied more of
Yep.
what we talked about the first time, to the point where there's not a lot of important moves to talk about.
Right.
Mostly
I
subtlety, and then oops, mistake.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did notice a certain trend with the last session we had and this one session, and it's the application of the very basic principle of corner, side, center again. And I just realized through this session that it does not only apply in the opening, but like with a lot of other things.
Yeah.
So
When
like
you're running, when you're defending,
whether when you're running, I didn't realize
attacking.
that point. Yeah. And I
Yeah,
often underestimate how big a side move can be, like a move on a side. I mean,
yeah. So if you're attacking, there's lots of ways of attacking, but generally corner first, then
yeah,
defense, and then if white does nothing, side. Remove the side move. Yeah, corner, side,
yeah,
center. Every now and then, it turns out on some board that center is bigger than corner, bigger than side. Sure, it happens, but generally speaking, corner, side, center. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, viewers, if you're watching this and have questions, my purpose here is these, you got the 10, 15 cues out there that wish they could get better. Do you have a question here? Something we can talk about that will give you a practical answer? I'm hoping so. So send in the questions and we'll catch you all later. Thanks, Dwee.
thank you. Bye bye.